In the past month, OnePlus surprised everyone by launching a new smartphone by adding a letter T in their existing set of devices. The all-new OnePlus 3T, introduced with teeny tidy changes. It was released in India this month and I got a chance to try it at the recent pop-up event in Mumbai. Well, after using it for a while, today let's find out my initial thoughts on it. So hey everyone, I am Prateek and you're on the Next Thinkerz channel. Speaking about the new 3T, the most impressive thing that strikes my mind is that upgrade process. How smartly the company has incorporated changes without adding any extra bulk or sacrificing the canvas when you find out about the numbers. So let's have a tour of what comes inside the OnePlus 3T box. The packaging and the unboxing experience is pretty much familiar. Oh, by the way, this is the first public unboxing in Mumbai at the pop-up event, so you can see kind of an excitement in the atmosphere. So opening the box, you see the phone sitting up right up front, covered up in plastic. Keeping it aside, inside the box you would find some documentation and the SIM ejection tool. Next is the typical OnePlus fashioned red and white USB Type A to Type C cable, which can be used for charging and data syncing purposes. Well, lastly is the infamous dash charger, having an output of 5V, equivalent to 4 amps. In fact, it is the world's fastest charging technology, whereas OnePlus claims that the 3T can provide you about an entire day of battery by charging your 3T for about half an hour. Now let's head back to the star of the show, the OnePlus 3T. Well, nothing much has changed apart from the front camera, the processor, a bigger battery and inbuilt storage. Apart from that, everything is the exact same. It comes with a 16 megapixel front camera with f2.2 aperture, a 3400 mAh battery, Snapdragon 821 processor clocked at 2.35 GHz and 64 or 128 GB inbuilt storage, which is exclusively available only in Gunmetal Variant. So while we are at it, let's set up this bad boy. Although one of the things which I noticed while setting it up was that the fingerprint scanner took quite some time to scan. Though I feel it was the first boot which might have caused this thing and my friend was quite nervous. But everything was good after the setup, fast, snappy and accurate. Whereas we have all known the usual Android setup, right? There's nothing much to talk on this rather than it runs on the Oxygen OS built on top of Android Marshmallow 6.0.1. Not the fresh version of Android, but it'll be available soon. Since we are done with the setup, let's talk about the actual improvements on the newer 3T model. Truly speaking, it is hard to point out which might be the 3T when kept aside to the OnePlus 3 in terms of design. But the only way to distinguish it would be the gunmetal color, which is slightly a darker tone of the silver variant found on the OnePlus 3. Everything from the bottom, right edges, top and the left side along with the lock switch placements are exactly similar. Whereas I can't really point out on how much would be the processing power differ from the OnePlus 3 to OnePlus 3T because it is actually impossible to predict it from a little amount of usage. Though speaking about the numbers, it has the new Snapdragon 821 chipset clocked at 2.35 GHz, which is slightly a better processor when it comes to numbers than the 820 processor found on the OnePlus 3. Although Snapdragon 821 is the fastest processor on this planet, coupled with 6GB of RAM with all the added memory management updates. What else do you want? However, if you jump onto the another improvement, which is the newer front 16 megapixel camera, the OnePlus 3T softens the image a lot, but sharpness and details are observed at a greater scale. While you might observe that the older OnePlus 3 actually takes some good selfies, whereas it would have been impressive to see if the front sensor had an OIS capability. And according to some videos I have seen on YouTube, you can find that OnePlus 3T tends to create a softer image when compared to OnePlus 3's sharper, more natural shots. Although both front cameras are quite good and it won't be a judging factor to a normal user. Whereas the front camera doesn't shoot 4K, even though it has a 16 megapixel sensor, which might get odd for some. However, if you consider the rear camera sensor, the shots came out pretty satisfying in indoor lighting conditions. If you talk about the camera interface, it's the typical OnePlus camera app, but as always, most of you would love the manual mode. So to be honest, not much has changed with the slightly significant upgrade from the OnePlus 3 to 3T. If you are an existing OnePlus 3 user, don't consider upgrading your phone because you have nothing extra to gain here. Your OnePlus 3 is already badass. However, if you own a OnePlus 2, then I would recommend you buying this device. But hey, get ready to invest more from your pocket, since it costs about 2000 bucks more than the OnePlus 3. Though, if you consider big brands such as Samsung, LG, etc. or even Google, their flagship devices have the exact same amount of specifications but would cost you almost the twice. And that might immediately remind you that OnePlus 3T is indeed a flagship killer. So that's all I can speak about the OnePlus 3T on my end. Although if I get a review unit, I might come up with a proper video. By the way, this entire video was shot on the new Asus Zenfone 3 Max, speaking of which its review is dropping soon. So if you like such videos, make sure to drop a like and smash that subscribe button so that I will see you in the next one.